was standing in the street.
Well, good evening and welcome to this week's edition of the Ride Along Radio Show. This is Thursday, June 29th, 2017, show number 81. 81. So we're closing in on that fateful show 100. Well, we'll try to have a live studio audience and all the drama that comes with that.
Oh, boy.
I know, right? Oh, boy. So, I'm George Holt.
And I'm Gil Contreras.
That's Gil over there.
Yeah, buddy.
And we were both cops in the city of Los Angeles for a number of years, working in the low-income, high-crime housing projects, working all over the city in the crime impact team and narcotics and gangs and all kind of stuff. So we're going to give you our perspective.
I used to buy dope. So
you know what? I could never buy dope because I didn't look like I would buy dope, but I sold the hell out of some dope. I was slinging. I was out in Harbor City slinging dope.
I used to buy dope. I put my Ray-Bans on, my Wayfarers. I had a city shirt, said City of LA.
Like a city worker, like a sanitation guy or something.
Yep.
Yeah. No, I could never buy, but I was out there slinging. I was slinging them rocks, as they say.
I remember the first time I tried to buy some rocks. I was with a guy who went on to be chief of several departments.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we're down in San Pedro somewhere, and so we drive into the area, and homeboy standing there. And he walks up on my side and he goes, "What do you want, man? What you looking for?"
Right.
And I go, "Hey, man, let me get a quarter right quick."
Uh-huh.
And he looked at me. He said, "A quarter?" And he reached in his pocket, took out 25 cents. And said, "Here you go, officer."
That's good.
I didn't have the look. I didn't have the sound yet.
You weren't down yet. You were.
He looked at me. "Here you go, officer."
That's funny. That's funny.
I was wrong. He was wrong for that.
He was clowning.
Well, my partner put the car in reverse, went like this. Back out of there.
That's pretty good, though.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Narcotics.
Let
me tell you something. After that, though, I bought weed, I bought crack, I bought PCP.
What about on duty?
I bought some frios. I did on duty. What you talking about?
Oh, okay. I didn't know. I'm just asking. I didn't know.
What you talking about, Willis? Trying to start some shit now. Look at you.
Well, you know what I found? That it was easier for me to pull off being the dope dealer because, first of all, the buyers don't tend to be as savvy as the sellers.
Exactly.
Right? And, man, all they see is that rock.
Yep.
That's all they saw, man. They just wanted that rock. And they said that billboard, behind you, rock may be a cop, right? And they was right some nights because I was out there slinging them rocks. But, we would go out there, we'd have the Pendleton shirts, and we'd be drinking O'Doul's, right? Non-alcoholic beer, but it looks like we're out there drinking beer in the hood, right? So they don't know. They figure it must be real. And it was cool because then you learned a lot. You got a lot of intel because they come up and they go, hey, where's Damu? And everybody keeps asking for Damu. So now I know, okay, well, Damu's out here slinging dope.
Right.
Right? Because they keep asking me for Damu. But, it was interesting. It was a fun learning time, man. It was a walk on the wild side. And then when I'd go to court to testify, I'd be dressed the same way I was dressed when I was selling dope. Because you want to be convincing in terms of, because I get up there and I'm myself in a suit, People like, man, that don't even sound right. It wouldn't even buy dope from that dude. But if I go as home slice, right, then it's a little easier to sell.
I remember being in court and, and they call the case and the defendant's, he's locked up and he's behind the thing
right.
in his jumpsuit. And so the officer's present, here's the Your Honor. And then you call our tune in, and you can see the defendant looking, trying to see,
where are they?
Where's that dude who put me here? I want to see him.
Yeah.
I see you, homie. I see you.
Right. Te veo. Okay, so I'm in court one time, and I'm not. I wasn't working undercover yet. I was just going to go testify. It's some patrol caper, but I'm not in uniform. I'm in a suit now, right? So I'm sitting down, and I may have told a story on the air before. And it's actually a fairly attractive black woman comes and sits down next to me.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
Right. But I got my suit on. I'm, I'm doing my thing, right? I'm just waiting for my time. So she starts talking to me. She goes, "Oh, are you here to see the judge?" I go, "As a matter of fact, I am here to see the judge," right? So we're talking, and, she's like being all extra friendly and all this. So I'm thinking, oh, okay. All right, cool. Well, this ought to be interesting because she's here to see somebody
right.
if she herself is not here to see the judge. So let's see how this goes, right?
Right.
But I'm open to it at this point. I'm young and single. I'm on the job. I'm single and ready to mingle,
Well, cops are always open. Well, you can't talk to people?
Right, you got to be able to talk to people.
Sure.
You got to socialize.
That's right.
So anyway, they come out and they say, officer on the, whatever case, right, on the Jones case. And so I go, that's me. And I stand up, I go up there, I talk to the DA and whatever, and I turn back around, dude, she's gone. Straight vanished. And I'm like, oh, and they didn't call no other cases now. So it's not that they called her up too. Uh-huh. I turned around like, okay, well now let's see how this goes now. Thin air.
Wow.
Yeah, just like that. I guess she didn't realize she came that close. She was sitting there talking, not even knowing you, flirting with the popo.
Wow.
And didn't even know it.
I remember one time we went to Kenyon Juvenile Justice Center down there.
JJC over on 76th and Central.
And I was with, God rest his soul, Mixon, Adele Mixon.
Mickey.
He was my FTO. Yeah. And we were there on some dope arrest, and so we go over there and we talked to this female deputy DA, and so we're talking about the case, and we get back to the car. We close the doors. He turns the car on, and he just looks at me with a smile. I said, what's going on, man?
Right.
He goes, that girl in there like you. I said, what? I was,
You're not thinking about it.
When I first started, I had no game. I just had no game.
But you've developed it since.
I have to tone it down now.
Yeah.
I got to tone it down. I got to reel that shit back in. I got a boo now. So,
That's right.
We going strong. We going strong.
That's right. All over the world, too. Traveling international.
That's right.
No, that's cool, man.
But Mickey told me, he goes, these girls out here, they looking for a husband. And let me tell you something, they got to have what you have or more.
Yeah, he gave me a similar speech. My first 2 days on the job with him.
And to tell you the truth, as I look back and I think about, those early days and, the decisions I made, leaving the job and stuff. And I think, if I wish I had spent more time with Mickey and guys like him. Mm-hmm. And I wish I'd paid more attention.
Those guys were wise in their own way.
They were. Yeah. They really were. And, I was so street cop mentality that
you look past those guys. You don't realize what they have to offer.
Exactly. Yeah. I see it now. I see it now with what they had to offer, and him and Bob Benavides. They were my two first FTOs, and Bob was a good guy.
Experience. You had a lot of experience.
Yeah,
he sure did.
They've been through it. Benny Casada. I don't know if you ever met.
I remember Benny.
They had some stories. They had some stories.
Well, those dudes were out there. Those were the pioneers.
Yeah.
And we didn't even look at it that way, but they were.
Exactly.
So we get into social media feedback, and we had a couple of comments. One that I just thought was funny, and the other one that brought up something that, sometime comes up from time to time, and I just thought it was time to address it. So this is from the last show we did about Assata Shakur, Philando Castile verdict.
Okay.
The last week show, right? And Jakumba Kambui just has a two-word comment for us. 2 losers. That was it.
Who, Assata and...
No, I don't. Well, I don't know. Now, see, that's a good point that you bring that up, but I don't think so. I think they were talking about us. I think they were saying 2 losers. And my first thought was, my immediate, coming from L.A., man, my first response is your mama. And then I thought, well, no, you said 2 losers, so your mama and your daddy. How about that one? So that's why I went with that. But here's the other one. This is from J. Rhodes 1004 or 1004. George, how can you, as a black man, allow Gil to joke about black men's lives being taken? Stand up, brother.
Wait, who did I joke? Did I joke?
Here's what you said.
What did I say? Roll tape.
We were talking about police work, and you said, yeah, that's good for people to see that so people know that it's more than just killing black guys or something like that, right? And I said, yeah, haha, and it's more than that too, or there's more to it than that, or it's not just that or something. We made light of what they felt was a very serious situation. So, and my response to that online, and I'll say it here too, was we make jokes about everybody. The whole point of this show is to give you a virtual ride-along. And inside a police car, we don't really have those kind of boundaries. Anybody can get this work, believe me.
Yeah, nobody's safe.
Nobody's safe. Nobody's safe, okay? And, we're talking about jokes and talking about dead people. If you've seen the stuff we saw and had to develop that same kind of sense of humor, you would understand. This is nothing for you to take personally. But thanks for watching, though. Still, thanks for watching. I hope you get something out of it. So, yeah, man.
Interesting.
Yeah. A lot of butthurt. A lot of butthurt out
Interesante.
there. Muy interesante.
Por favor, no me hablas así.
Yes, right. No me hablas así. And see, that's said calmly, but usually, hey, no me hablas así, por favor. You know, it's said real, don't talk to me like that, please, right?
That's my Mexican soap opera voice.
Right,
Por favor, George, no me hablas así.
No me hablas así. Yeah, but I'm saying in real life, I had a girlfriend that spoke Spanish, and she would be, hey, no me hablas así, por favor. You know, when we start getting heated, you know.
Boom.
Yeah. So check this out. So the news of the day is what we do next, typically. And I'm just going to say the headline, and you tell me which store you think it happened in. I'll give you the state, North Carolina. And the headline is, pregnant woman runs over thief in blank parking lot. Which store would that be?
Walmart.
Bing! Bing, 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 bing. There you go. Exactly. So this happened in North Carolina the other day, and we're going to show the video of it. It's actually pretty... the video doesn't show everything, but it shows enough. It's actually a pretty intense moment here.
Better get out of the way! Holy
A chaotic scene in the parking lot of an Asheville Walmart as a man is hit by a woman driving an SUV.
She slammed on her brakes, crammed it in reverse, and run over the median over there in between and hit him in the back. I mean, he was running and she just flat hit him.
Witnesses tell News 13 the man who was hit was allegedly going through the woman's belongings in her red-orange Ford Explorer.
When I walked out of Walmart, he had her purse and he was pulling all of her stuff out. And then me and my friend, we told him to put it down. What are you doing? She stopped and he ran off. And then she came up behind him and hit him with the car.
When the driver, Christine Broswell, came out to her car, she says she confronted the man before she claims he took off with her purse.
I came back out here and he was with my purse and took off, and I took off after him. Me being 5 months pregnant, I chased a little ways and then come back, jumped in the car, throwed it in gear, and come across the curb and ran him over. I was not going to let him get away with it. It's not right. It's not fair.
The man, helped to the curb by two men who confronted him earlier, sat writhing while paramedics tended to him, eventually taking him to the hospital.
I know two guys helped him up, and when they were putting him in the ambulance, I seen that he had blood coming down both arms.
Asheville police tell News 13 the man escaped with minor injuries.
Yeah, so...
It's a tough job being a car burglar.
I know, right? And so I actually got tagged by two separate people on this tonight. So shout out to LT Ward and C Moore, who both tagged me in this video separately. And so we're going to talk about this tonight, okay? One question was, hey, is she going to get charged? And I think both of them, well, C Moore said, how come she ain't get charged? I assume that's how she said it. She typed it.
Oh, okay.
But in my head, I heard, how come she ain't get charged though? But LT Ward is like, hey, is she going to get charged for this? And she was charged. She was arrested for, listen to this, misdemeanor assault with a deadly weapon.
Okay.
I guess they have that in North Carolina. We don't have that here in California.
No, we don't. It's just ADW.
It's just a felony. ADW is a felony.
ADW
There's
or
no
not.
misdemeanor felony. We don't even need to say which one it is because they're all felonies. You know, so there's some crimes that we call wobblers where they can be a misdemeanor or a felony, and that ain't one of them in California. But apparently it is in North Carolina.
Well, of course, in California, all felonies now are
they're all wobblers.
They're all wobblers.
They've been pled down to infractions now.
Man, we're gonna pretty soon. I just saw the thing about the vehicle code.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Right.
Oh yeah, that's on there. Yeah, I saw that. I saw you put it on your feed, so I said,
Yeah,
okay, that's a good conversation. So if you try that here in California, it's a felony, and you're going to go to the penitentiary if you're convicted, or you're going to get, maybe probation. Maybe probation was the first time.
You
or
got to
whatever,
count. Probably. Community service, probation.
Well, there's some
fine,
extenuating
restitution.
circumstances. One of that he was a thief and he took her stuff. Not that justifies you killing anybody or running him over, but there's some extenuating circumstances there, especially if you're a law-abiding citizen up to that point.
Right.
And he has not been. They're going to take that into consideration, whether you think it's fair or not. They're going to.
And she was a victim.
She was a victim.
But she was pregnant.
Those
hormones.
That's what she's going to plead out, right? She's going to say that
they were misfiring.
The estrogen kicked in.
It caused her to overreact, for God's sake.
And it clouded her judgment.
Yeah.
But here's the deal. Okay, you cannot in California, but apparently so can North Carolina. You cannot hurt somebody because they're stealing your property. You can't shoot somebody. You can't harm anybody in any way to stop them from stealing something. You can hurt them to stop them from hurting you or someone else, but you can't do that over property. But in some states you can, like in Texas.
We should move.
As part of the castle, I've been thinking about it for a while, actually.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, I've been thinking about moving out this whole country since November 6th of last year. Boom, bam, and you walk right into it. You didn't see that coming.
You ain't leaving.
You didn't see that coming?
What are you talking about, the country?
You didn't see that coming?
I thought you had come to your senses finally and saw California for the
No, I enjoy Texas. I spend a lot of time in Texas, and I spend a lot of time in Arizona. I like Arizona. Not this time of year necessarily. Mm-hmm. I spent too much time in Nevada to fully enjoy it, I guess, as for what it is. But Texas, I dig, man. And I was even in North Carolina last year, and I actually kind of like North Carolina, except it snows down there sometimes. So I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
I'm not down with that. Yeah, but this is North Carolina, speaking of, right? So, you can't do that, man. You can't do that and expect not to have some consequences and repercussions. So,
well,
she was arrested.
all I say is, don't be a criminal.
Well, yeah, I mean,
don't do crime.
Yeah, and if you look at the YouTube comments on these, whenever you find this on YouTube, you'll see people saying that's what he gets, and don't be a criminal.
That's it.
Tough job. It's a tough gig, right? So he's not going to get a lot of sympathy. Fortunately, she didn't kill him because then she would be in some serious legal jeopardy.
Yeah, I don't think she wanted to kill him. She just wanted to stop him and hold him for the police.
Right, she ran him down. He had a couple of skinned. His shins got bruised.
He got clipped.
And stuff. It just knocked him down. But you saw that. Those hands go up when he got hit, right?
Buddy.
He's trying to run. He's trying to zig, and he should have zagged, and she popped him, and his hands go up. That was beautiful. So hey, that's what you get.
And if you're offended by my laughing, well, I can't help you.
See, anybody can get this work.
Yep.
Sorry. Yep. Yeah, that's just how we do.
Look, if you ever wondered what is it like what did two cops talk about inside the car
when they're in there by themselves? Because some of you know what it's like in the back seat. We're talking about in the front seat,
right? And the closest thing I've ever seen is End of Watch.
End of Watch, definitely
came close.
Definitely came very close.
Very close. But this is what it's like. It's banter. It's, I pick on you, you pick on me.
Right.
We pick on the world.
Exactly.
But we keep each other safe.
And that's what it's about.
And
first and foremost, that's job number one.
And you can go from joking and whatever to totally focused on what's in front of you and knowing exactly what to do within the limits of the law and department policy.
Right, because you're trained, and that's what training's all about.
That's the gig. That's the job. That's what it's like. And
that's what I signed up for.
And so, if progressives think that they're going to somehow legislate cops into being just officer friendly in the black and white and have us driving around not writing tickets, don't stop nobody, especially poor people, for God's sakes. You can't tow their car anymore. If you're an illegal alien, call a friend to come pick up your vehicle. You don't tengo licencia. That's okay. It's ridiculous. It's just ridiculous.
Well, you know what? So a guy that I know, I met him once here, actually, and we've been friends on Facebook now for a couple of years, I guess. R.T. Steckel. He's a comedian. And you might have participated in this big debate that we had about a year ago. R.T.'s position on it, and shout out to R.T. For his insight. R.T.'s position on policing is that there should be police who are unarmed, who pull cars over and do stuff like that. And then the other police who respond to your house for calls and respond to shootouts at the bank and that kind of stuff should be armed. But there should be basically, meter maids should be pulling people over, essentially.
Wow.
And his position on it is if that was the case and something like Philando Castile never would have happened because he was stopped for a tail light and then there wouldn't be any reason for anybody to have any guns involved. But here's the problem with
Except
that.
he would have had the gun.
Well, I explained this to him.
He would have been the only one with a gun.
The conversation I had with him was pre-Philando Castile at all. But my point is that you pull somebody over as a police officer, you don't know if that dude just came from robbing a bank, if he just came from doing a drive-by, if his dead wife is in the trunk of the car. You don't know any of that, but he thinks you know that. And he's going to get out blazing.
Or he doesn't know what you know.
And he don't care.
And so when you start to walk up on the vehicle, since he doesn't know, he's going to land on he knows.
Right.
And that's how he's going to act.
He's going to roll the dice on it and come up with this is a safe way for me to get out of this. Mm-hmm. There was an officer, LAPD officer named Paul Verna, who was, I think Paul Verna was killed in 87. and Paul Verner had stopped a car for a traffic violation. He's on a motorcycle.
Right.
He walks up on the car to write the ticket, and these people had just come from robbing a store.
Right.
And they thought Verner knew.
Right.
And they killed him.
Yeah.
You know?
Paul Verner was my buddy Mark Mayhew. Shout out to Mark in Arizona. He was Mark Mayhew's training officer.
Oh, is that right?
When Mark was on probation.
Okay.
In fact, Verna and my buddy Mark had actually pulled some people out of a burning house and got the police star for that.
Oh, wow.
And I saw him on the news. And then, a couple of years later, he goes to Motors and he got killed.
He gets killed. His son's on the job now, I understand.
Yeah.
So you just never know. So that's why you can't have unarmed people stopping vehicles for that kind of thing, because people don't know the difference. Unless you're going to have pink and light green lights or something so people know that's not the gun police pulling me over.
It's the LGBT.
You saw that NYPD vehicle?
Yeah. And the HPD, for Honolulu PD one.
Oh, they have one too?
They got one too now.
Well, West Hollywood Sheriffs has had a rainbow on the side of their car since the 80s.
Yeah.
So that's the West Hollywood City logo.
We just thought that was part of the, there's a pot of gold and it's in West Hollywood.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, there's pot in West Hollywood, all right. And there's gold, there's golden shot. What? Anyway, okay.
I don't know nothing about that.
Yeah, I've heard about it. So listen, there's another bit of technology that's out, and I guess it's been out probably for about 12 months in a testing
I'm sorry.
phase.
I just wanted to add to the Verna story and the unarmed officers. There was a Sacramento County deputy sheriff who shot in the yesterday.
Face. Yeah, yesterday, shot in the face.
And this was a contact. He sees the guy, and I don't know what prompted the contact. I don't know why he went to go talk to the guy. And as soon as he said, "Hey, man," the guy attacked him. And then they get into a fight. He's able to put out that he's in a fight, requesting backup. But somehow the suspect is able to disarm him, and then in the fight they're fighting and fires 2 rounds. One of them hits him in the face.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't know the circs on it.
So that my point to that is, in addition to the Paul Verna story and the other, these people that are advocating for unarmed police, and we just saw in London, we're going
to talk about that too.
This poor guy trying it with a baton, going up against armed guys.
He calls it a baton.
Yeah. I don't think the public realizes just how as much as people want to be soft on crime and soft on criminals and believe that it's all about racism, the truth is that when Donald Trump said there's some bad hombres out there,
that's definitely true.
Something.
Everybody
there's some
better
bad
know that.
Hombres out there.
Sure.
But there's a lot of people that are in denial about how bad those people are. That are out
I'll
on the
give you that. They're in denial about how bad they are and how many of them there are.
That's right.
Yeah, that's true.
And in California, we're letting them out early.
So there's going to be a lot more bad hombres on the streets. So, man, I mean, I've heard more than once the meter maids, the Department of Transportation, the parking enforcement is the correct name for them, at the airport, they're traffic control people who write the tickets. More than once in my career, I have heard them running down the street asking for help on the radio because they tried to write somebody a ticket, just a parking ticket,
right?
And it went sideways. I ain't never had nobody run up on me behind a parking ticket. Maybe because I got a gun. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it never happened, okay? But yeah, more than once, him running down the street because they come under attack.
Yeah.
Now, just imagine if you were going to do something and stop somebody, maybe who was driving drunk, and the guy doesn't want to go to jail, or are you going to give him this last thing that's going to go on his license, get his license suspended, or make his insurance go up, or whatever? Or again, all he knows is you got a uniform on and you pull me over and I got a dead body in the trunk. I got a dead midget in the trunk and a sack of dope in the glove box.
Right.
It's on. And I don't care if you can't defend yourself. I'm not going to jail.
Right.
So, that's...
But that incident up there in Sacramento, really, and I even posted this, when was the last time any of us, practiced weapons retention?
Yeah.
We just kind of take it for granted. It's in there.
Right. You got a nice level 3 holster.
And, but, all fights go to the ground, and as you're rolling around trying to, you're really trying to fight with one hand.
Right. You're trying to cap that.
Especially if you don't know how to.
Right.
You're really afraid for your gun, so you're kind of trying to control and get back. And that's why, the jiu-jitsu is so important.
Right. Or Krav Maga even. Those are both helpful.
Because you have to be able to, you know, it's so counterintuitive. The training is counterintuitive because when your body says, well, let me get this guy away from me, you know, the training, the Krav Maga that I took says, don't do that. Get in there.
Right.
In fact, bring him closer to you.
Sure.
You know, and it's a counterintuitive thing to do.
Just like turning into a skid.
Right.
In the car, right? Yeah, you want to go the other way, and that's how you spin out.
Right. But it really, you know, it just reminded me, just, you know, for guys who are still out and about carrying guns, you know, boy, you have to really think about, you know, not only is it a shoot, don't shoot, my background, what's behind my, you know, what's behind my, this thing I wanted, this person I want to shoot at. Not only that, but when I take it out, you know, can I hang on to it?
Right.
If I don't shoot it and
even
I get
if you
attacked,
don't take it out, can he get it out?
Right.
Have I now introduced a gun into this situation that wasn't even there before?
Right.
Yeah, think about that. And I always tell my officers that at the airport, when you go, I see officers going to the bathroom behind screening. It's like you're back there with a gun. Nobody else has a gun. They've all been checked. So if I'm a terrorist and I want to get a gun on the airplane, I'm going to see if I can get you off someplace and break you off real good and get your gun. So I always tell my officers, don't go to the bathroom behind screening because you're in a room there and you don't know if two guys are going to follow you in there and jump you, stuff you off in the damn thing, and now they got your gun and they're on the plane with your gun. Right. You know, you got to think about that.
I walk in, you know, I'll look. Push the door.
Right.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much.
So before we go to break, here's a cool little video. There's this new technology out. It's called Star Chase. Again, it's been out for about 12 months, but it's starting to go wide, and it's supposed to help cut down on dangerous police pursuits. So we're going to roll that Star Chase footage, and let's see what you think.
Speed police chase in pursuit of a suspect. It's dangerous and it can be deadly for innocent motorists.
Now, though, thanks to a new piece of technology, police can track a suspect without the chase. News Channel 5's Alyssa Hyman is here to explain. Alyssa?
Michael, the Palm Beach Police Department just started using the Star Chase system. It allows an officer to shoot a GPS tracker onto a suspect's car and then follow from a safe distance.
This exclusive Chopper 5 video shows 4 teenagers leading police on a high-speed chase back in May. While this chase ended without serious injury, that's not the case for all pursuits.
There's no more pursuits for the most part. We just can't justify it. The danger to the drivers, the danger to the officer, the danger to the public itself.
The Palm Beach Police Department now has a safer way to keep up with a fleeing criminal.
It has a projectile that we fire out of the front of the vehicle.
With the recently acquired Star Chase technology, the officer shoots a sticky, magnetic-type dart from the front of the police car onto a suspect's car. The dart is equipped with GPS tracking for Google Earth.
We fall back, no lights, no sirens. They don't even see us for the most part, and they'll be able to tell us, oh, Oscar 3, it's traveling south on Dixie or wherever it happens to be going to.
The launcher has about a 30-foot range.
Continue to enforce the law, but from a distance. We'll actually hit the actual fire button.
There are still instances when a chase is warranted, like trying to catch a violent offender or a drunk driver. But for things like property crimes, officers say this is a better alternative.
Property is replaceable. It's the lives that we want to protect.
Now, the Palm Beach Police Department says 2 of its vehicles have this system right now, and obviously when the new budget rolls around, they want to equip more of their vehicles with this technology. So a great thing.
That is amazing.
Sounds like something like out of a Bond film come to life.
Absolutely.
Interesting.
Thanks for that perspective.
Absolutely.
I think that's pretty interesting. I like when we use technology to solve issues. I think it ain't going to end all pursuits, but it's an option that we didn't have before.
Wouldn't it be more effective instead of putting that sticky thing, just put a 40-millimeter round in there? Just blow up the car?
Yeah, but then you might drive through the debris. You know, that's the problem. You might mess your police car up. That's right?
I don't know.
No, you're right.
Seems to me the pursuit would stop.
Well, yeah, I'm sure it would. But you know what's also been done, and I know the guys who did this. There have been pepper balls fired into a car. Suspects in pursuit going through a city in the San Gabriel Valley and right next to East L.A. And they're driving, the suspect's driving, he's got his window down. And happens to be a SWAT guy working that night, and he's got his pepper ball launcher in the trunk. So they get up and they pull up next to him. and they just light them up, and they just fill the inside of the car with pepper balls. So the guy's got to stop. Okay, so there's different ways of doing that.
Wow.
But I like that one because it allows us now to know where the vehicle is at least.
Right.
You might get out and take off. And it doesn't seem like it may do any damage to the car either with that little sticky pad thing on the front too. So, again, it's a tool. You remember at one time there was a like a little skate thing they could, like a what's the word I'm looking for? Like a sled, and it had wheels on it though, and they could take that and the idea was they could shoot it under your car, and they could fire like an EMP out of it, and it would shut down all your electrical systems in your car. They were testing that at San Bernardino. And I don't know. It didn't go anywhere. Maybe because they're expensive. Maybe because they don't work on pre-19.
I remember seeing that, but I don't know what happened.
Yeah, I saw them testing it, but it doesn't work on cars before like 1977 or something anyway, when they didn't have the electronic ignition and all that. Those cars will still run at those many cars around anymore. But that EMP, man, would shut it down. I don't know if it could restart or it would fry it. I don't know. But
it's interesting. I kind of like this thing. I don't know. You have to really.
That's the thing is you got to be behind it. Now you're trying to drive, and I wonder if they got like crosshairs. Maybe they got the hood ornament. The hood ornament is like a crosshair.
You know that like they have on a Pilot.
Yeah, the heads-up display.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. You could line that thing up.
I have tone. I'm going to guns.
Like a missile lock. I got missile lock, and launch that thing out, man. And I think there's 2 of them too. So if you miss the first time, you can you can hit them again. So that's actually pretty legit. And the guy's not going to stop to get out to snatch a thing off, and he's not going to do any of that. Plus, he's probably not even going to know you hit him. So it depends on what kind of noise is going on or whatever with the siren and everything. He may not even hear that you hit the car. Yeah. So that's actually pretty slick. I think that's a good idea. I wonder how much those cost though.
I don't know, but it kind of takes all the fun out of pursuit.
Yeah, we just back off. Let the helicopter follow him, or you get your handheld, get your iPad, and you can follow him to where he is.
Look, one of the things that every police administrator says, you hear them talk on the radio or on TV or something. It's one of the most dangerous things we do. And look, I want to chase somebody.
Right, that's one of the reasons I signed up. I ain't gonna lie to you.
That's why I got lights and siren.
Right.
I wish you would run. I wish you would.
You know what? It's terrifying but thrilling at the same time. It's like a roller coaster, but there's no tracks, and you're in charge of you control the motion of the car.
I've been in some good pursuits, and it wasn't terrifying at all. It was fun. It was fun.
It depends on if you're driving, and if not, who else is driving.
Well, I was always a driver, so.
I didn't get into a good pursuit where I was a driver till I was off probation. It was me, Dave Crivelli, and Kent Lee down in Normont Terrace. And we chased that thing all the way into Torrance. And Torrance put the pit maneuver on him and took him out.
Yeah. Well, I was riding with this, one of those older dudes, OJ, I don't know if you remember OJ.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And he's sitting in the business. We didn't have cages, right? He was sitting in the back seat, and I had a 647B in custody. So I'm driving up to Civil Brand. Okay, that's how long ago this was.
Okay, that answered my question. Civil Brand. Okay.
Yeah. So we're leaving the harbor. I'm northbound on 110, and we're cruising. And then up ahead, I can see this car, and he's just all over the freeway. His brake lights are on, traffic's passing, but he's just all over the, so I get on the radio and say, 9721, Advice CHP, I've got a possible DUI driver northbound 110 just south of Exposition. I'm requesting they, respond.
Right.
So I'm just following the dude, right?
Right.
So I got my ambers on in the back, and we're cruising. And then we get to Exposition Boulevard. I think at some point he looked back there and he could see the amber lights, but there was no red or blue. Right.
He could probably see it through the lens, though, yeah.
So he gets off at Exposition. I get off at Exposition. OJ's in the back with
right. You're not in pursuit because you got a suspect.
Yeah, we're going to say, be advised, we're exiting at Exposition. Notify CHP. We'll be on the street. We go down. It's a red light. He comes to a stop. I come to a stop. I turn on the red light so he'll pull over, and I'm just going to stop him and hold him.
Right.
Turn on the red light. All I saw was a puff of smoke come out of the exhaust pipe, and the car took off. So I take off after him.
Oh, with one in custody?
With one in custody.
Oh.
So I take off after him, and I'm like, why isn't this guy stopping? And then he turns right on Washington, and he's flying. Now I turn on the whole light bar. Now I'm flying. And I said, shit, we're in pursuit.
Right.
So now my partner's calling the pursuit from the back. And I mean, we're flying through Southwest.
And the B girl is like...
And she's bouncing.
They're like, what the hell is going on?
She goes, you guys are crazy. Let me out of the car.
So it's terrifying for her.
So and now I'm southbound. I think it was on Fig, and we're just flying. I'm driving. The Chevy Caprice was hot.
Right.
They were fast, and I'm driving the car, and so I'm coming down, and all of a sudden I see. No, maybe it wasn't Fig because it was Newton. I saw like 8 LAPD cars pointed northbound. I'm coming
towards you.
And as I pass them, the suspect passes, I pass them, and then I can see in the mirror they're just peeling.
Right.
Oh, so
nice.
It was so cool to see.
Right, here he comes.
And so we're in pursuit, and I hear them back there, and then all of a sudden my car starts going, and I'm like, oh no, not now.
Oh.
And then now it's jerking and it's slowing down on its own. So I pull to the left, and they fly right past me.
Yeah.
1389, I'm now the primary unit, blah, blah, blah. And off they go. And, everybody passed me, and I'm sitting there in my car, and it's...
Oh, wow.
So we were... And then, anyway, the guy...
With one in custody.
Yeah. The guy didn't get very far, but, he ended up crashing at the intersection. So we drove down there real slow. But
of course.
We got down there. And when we got there, they were all yelling at him, get out of the car, get out of the car. And it had been a long pursuit.
Yeah.
Get out of the car. And, he looked at him, and he wouldn't get out. It was a drunk Mexican. He wouldn't get out of the car.
Why can't just be a drunk driver?
He was a drunk Mexican.
Because he didn't understand English? That's what you're saying?
That's what he was.
Okay, all right.
It's not my fault. He was Mexican. So was I. What's the big deal?
But you weren't drunk?
No.
The producers are going, what? Oh, he was Mexican.
I said I was Mexican. He was Mexican.
Right,
We're both Mexican.
You guys probably still are. If he's still upright, he's still are, right?
If he's still here.
Right.
And so he started to get out of his car. He opened the door, and so everybody's standing behind their,
car door.
Now he closed the door, and he's trying to start. So when he closed the door and started the car up, trying to start it up, everybody ran back to their cars because they're like,
he's on. Yeah,
he's on. Chase him some more.
Right, because that's what we want.
And then his car, it wouldn't start. So everybody gets back out of the car, and they're yelling, get out of the car. And then finally, this big P2. He came out of nowhere, and he just walked up to the car.
Now, P2 is a training officer, right? Not a training officer, he's a veteran officer, right?
Right, he's a senior officer.
Senior officer, yeah.
So this huge white boy, he didn't even.
Why you got to be a white boy? No, I'm kidding.
He was a white boy. He was white.
I had to say it because I said, why he's got to be Mexican, right?
So he walks up. He don't even have his gun. You know how you come all cool.
Right.
He didn't even. He walked right up to the driver's door. He reached into the window, grabbed that little Mexican out, and dropped him on the floor.
Wow. And that was the end of the pursuit.
And that was the end of the pursuit.
Yeah, because enough is enough.
But that was the most fun pursuit I ever had.
Well,
we went all over Newton and Southwest
with one in custody. Now it can be told.
Yeah.
So look, folks, we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back at it. We got some more stuff and some more stories to talk about, and we will see you in un momento.
Por favor.
Por favor. And that was The Clash, and I Fought the Law. I'm a big Clash fan from way back in the day. Yeah, so listen, somebody called in on the break, and we didn't even give the phone number out, but it might have been across the screen. So, hey, caller, what's your name and where are you calling from?
It's the great Eddie Goodman.
Eddie Goodman. Oh, you called. So Eddie was the one. Remember last week somebody called early, and then they called late? That was Eddie. That was Eddie. They called in before we got our hair and makeup done last week.
Y'all think y'all was sick. Y'all did the conceal thing last, and didn't give nobody a chance to call in, and I like the way you laid it out. Made it last, and you got out of there.
Yeah, right. Wow. It was all it was a plan of the man. It was a plan of the man.
Exactly.
I hear conspiracy theory, Eddie.
Exactly. That's exactly what it was. But that's what I was calling for, because I didn't get a chance to speak my mind last week about that situation.
Okay.
So, my whole thing is that the problem I have with Gil is because it just seemed like, we don't know exactly what that officer seen inside the car.
That's right.
I get that part. But at the end of the day, it should be some kind of compassion to it was staff on both ends, the officer he made a drastic mistake, like George saying, he probably wished he never would have done it, but then a man lost his life. And so I think what the problem, and this is really the old school mentality, because officers today and the people that I deal with in law enforcement, they don't have that kind of mentality. They would have been more like, you know, I feel bad for both of them. I feel bad for the officer, so I feel that he probably really didn't mean to do that. But then I also feel bad for the guy who lost his life. And I think Gil, he uses too much of the technical reasoning behind, well,
those damn facts.
Well, Gil's not into feelings.
Yeah, it's like he just like don't care. Like he's just a piece of trash or a piece of paper. Like it is what it is, and it's like I don't care. But my whole thing is, if that was somebody he loved, that it was in a situation like that, I know for a fact he wouldn't have that stance. You know what I mean?
Well, no, yeah, because that's somebody you can't be clinical about somebody that's close to you.
Right.
Well, it depends on how close.
Well, if something happened to Eddie, you wouldn't be clinical about that. That's your guy.
Look, Eddie, I'd be like, for a minute, but that's about it. That's all you're gonna get.
Now, one of your sisters, either Stephanie or Terry, made a comment, because you and Eddie, you were on this post, where she said this was caused by human error on both parts, and she laid out that it was a tragedy, basically, but that there's more than enough blame to go around. And that was the best comment I'd heard on it. I want to say it was Terry. Is that?
No, I think it was. Right? I think it was Stephanie.
Really? I would remember that name.
Terry has even less feelings than me.
Oh, then maybe it was Stephanie. Okay. Well, one of them. So we'll say it was Stephanie then. She laid it out very succinctly. I like that.
Stephanie, she's a Christian.
Oh, okay. So she's born again.
She's a Christian.
Okay, good. So maybe she'll save you all.
Yeah. That's not her job. That's Jesus' job. Jesus.
All right. Well, that's all I got.
We appreciate you calling in, man.
Sit back and watch.
All right,
Eddie.
All right.
Thanks for calling. All right.
Eddie Goodman.
He's been a guest on the show before. One of our early shows, actually.
Yeah.
Like one of the first 5 shows I think he was on.
Yeah.
He's a ride-along radio show OG, Eddie Goodman.
Yeah. I've known Eddie for a long time. And, when I first met him, he was actually the security director at Locke High School.
Right.
And the college I used to teach at, our students were graduating, and they actually went over there, and they really turned that school around when Green Dot took over. Mm-hmm. And Eddie and his crew were part of that take over the school, and then eventually, getting everything to calm down where it was safe, and the kids felt
good
safe
learning
going
environment.
to school. It was 4,000 students there, and 2,000 of them were admitted gang members.
Wow!
So it was a tough environment, and those guys at CRST, that were over there in those years, they did a hell of a job.
Is that program still in place?
No, it isn't.
Wow.
Somebody comes along and goes, "Hey, you're my buddy, right? Hey, I can do, I got my PPL.
Sure.
I can do it cheaper." And
so of course, cronyism.
Yeah, exactly. And so, the CRST got run out, and new people came in, and it was all different. But when Eddie's crew were there, they had white cars. They were marked. Some of them said gang unit, for God's sake.
Oh, wow.
They actually had a MOU with the school district and with Green Dot and with the city for the safe passage.
Right.
So the safe passage program says, we guarantee your kids will be safe coming from the school going
all the way home. So you're responsible for them until they get home.
Correct.
Right.
So these guys were patrolling the streets.
Wow.
Around the school. They were making ped stops. They were making. They would respond to fights. They'd break them up, put people up, take them back, and then the sheriff, who was assigned to the school,
right,
because it kicked LUSDPD out of there.
Wow, amazing.
The sheriff would then hook and book.
Okay, well. It's too bad it's not around anymore.
It is too bad, because it was a really effective model, and even though those guys would run and gun to do their job, just like you just heard Eddie talking right now about being compassionate.
Right.
He's always had that side of him, and he kind of comes from that.
And that's important.
It is important.
Yeah, it's very useful.
And because, if you balance the program with a guy like me running street operations and a guy like him overseeing stuff, you can kind of get some balance in there, because it can't be all street enforcement.
It can't be all soft touch either.
And it can't be all officer friendly either.
Right, exactly.
We can't have cops driving around handing baseball cards out. That's right.
We did that. Yeah, we did that in Pogs. Remember that? Was handing out Pogs. That was a big one. So, there's an opiate epidemic sweeping the nation, apparently, and it has been going on for some time. And
the Gil Scott-Heron sang about that. Junkie walking in the twilight.
Is that right?
I'm on my way home.
That was Gil Scott-Heron? I didn't know that.
That was Gil Scott.
I didn't know that. We're actually going to be playing "Pray to the Junkie Maker" by Fishbone later in the show.
Oh,
so
I would have rather had
theme there. So I didn't know. You
don't hear me though. You don't hear me.
It was him.
I
know Frank Zappa had a song that talked about that too.
See what I'm saying? That's all right.
Frank Zappa had a song too that talked about that Pygmy Twilight, and it was about the Downer Quaalude Midnight and all that stuff. Anyway, opiates.
Opiates.
So there's a town in Ohio called Middleton, Ohio, and Middleton, Ohio is there's the big thing now for paramedics to carry Narcan. Right, and I think the trade name is Narcan, but the actual pharmaceutical name is like Naxalone or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Something like that. Anyway, they carry it in their bags, and it's expensive. NYPD's been carrying. Actually, the police carry it, I think, in New York now, right?
Well, Sheriff McDonald just ordered that the patrol officers start carrying it.
Well, and the reason is this is the thing that can bring you back from the dead if you overdose on opiates. If you saw the movie Pulp Fiction, right, with the injection to the
that was adrenaline.
That was adrenaline, right? But it's a similar effect, and that it counteracts the opiate, right?
It does.
It brings you back to life. Vuelve a la vida, we say in Espanol. So, but that shit's expensive. Okay, per dose, it's expensive, and this city buys it, and they're going through it so rapidly that one of the city council people said, "You know what? We have to do something about the rate at which we're expending this expensive medication." So he proposed that after the third time, you don't get it. Unless, yeah, right? That's pretty hardcore. His thing is, if you're a repeat customer.
How do you know?
Well, how do you keep track of it? That's what I want to know, right? He's proposing. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's watch the video and you'll see what he's proposing.
I said we put a chip in them and then we just scan them.
And then you know if you're a repeat customer. It's like a loyalty card.
Yeah.
Of letting up, and first responders are on the front lines. But a Middletown City Council member wants to know if medics should even respond to overdoses to ease the financial burden. Larry Davis looks at the debate.
The cost of responding to heroin overdoses is putting a financial strain on Middletown. The city spent $10,000 on Narcan last year. This year, the figure could top $100,000.
And it's only getting worse. It's not getting better. And right now it's getting to the point where it's going to hurt every citizen in Middletown because we're going to run out of money.
Councilmember Dan Picard says people who OD once or twice should be revived, but to offset the cost, they should perform community service. He says the third time, city emergency crews should not respond.
This will be like their third strike. I mean, they'll have 2 opportunities. We'll treat them twice. But unfortunately, at some point, we're going to run out of money.
The heroin problem is definitely getting out of hand in Middletown. From a cost perspective, the city will spend more than 10 times the amount compared to last year on heroin overdoses.
Middletown fire officials say they have a moral and legal obligation to respond to all emergencies. They say more money is being spent on Narcan because more is being administered because of the potency of the heroin. Fire Chief Paul Lally says it's not just a financial problem.
It's just not a Middletown problem. You know, it's a regional problem, and it taxes the services. It increases your run numbers tremendously. It increases the stress on the personnel.
Picard says he's heard the question many times. How do you not provide emergency treatment?
How much money are you willing to contribute to it? How high should we raise the taxes in Middletown?
Picard says he's just looking for a financial solution.
What I'm trying to do with this plan is to scare people, and I'm upfront about that. I want to scare these people who are dealing drugs, who are doing drugs, into not coming to Middletown because we don't have the money to treat them.
In Middletown, Larry Davis, Local 12 News.
So it boils down to resources and money, but I cannot see, and the fire chief already said, we have a legal and a moral obligation to provide services when somebody calls. As you said, how would you keep track of it?
Mm-hmm.
And as a paramedic, are you really going to stand there with the Narcan in your bag?
If you're an Eddie Goodman paramedic, you're going to violate the law and you're going to give that Narcan. Now, if you're a Gil Contreras paramedic, you're going to say, wait a second, looks like this is your third time, Holmes. You ain't going to make it.
See?
You ain't going to make it.
See? That's why you're not a paramedic. Because,
Why Picard so hard, man?
That's hardcore, man.
He hard.
He's like, hey, this is a money thing. And when he said people challenge him, he said, well, how much are you going to contribute to
That's
it?
right.
I'm sure that shuts a lot of people up.
Let me tell you something.
That's hardcore.
I just heard a discussion on NPR this afternoon about this very thing. And so there's this new book, and I'm going to find, because I don't remember the name of the author or the book right now, but it was just released. But I'm going to do some research, and I'll post it on my Facebook page.
Okay.
But the author was saying that that a couple of things happened over the last few years. One, people were getting addicted to prescription meds.
Right.
And so once when they saw the trend, and they changed some things about how it's
given out,
prescribed and stuff.
Right.
And so I guess an 81 milligram pill has a street value of $80. You can buy one for $80.
No, really.
But you can buy a little bag of heroin for $10 or $15.
That's true, and it probably lasts you twice as long.
And so the drug cartels recognized that there was this gap
right.
that was created by government, and so they have now filled it. And so all that heroin is coming from
like they did during Prohibition, and like they did during any other time there was any kind of thing like
it's
that.
all coming across the southern border.
Right.
And everybody knows that. And so
yeah, because you can't even really grow the kind of poppies you need in our environment. Like you can't do with cocaine. You can't grow cocaine here.
But the other interesting thing about that is that she found in her research for the book, in writing with paramedics and hospitals, going to hospitals and stuff, she found that in interviewing the addicts once they were revived with Narcan, they asked a bunch of them, why are you doing that? And they say, well, I'm addicted and I really can't help myself, number one.
Right.
But number two, the reason they're doing it more and more in public is because they know if I OD,
then they'll come get me.
Or if this has fentanyl in it, and I OD by accident, somebody's going to see me, somebody's going to call 911,
and they'll come save me.
And they're going to come and spray it up my nose, and I'm going to be cool.
Right.
So this, as Narcan...
They won't do it in Middletown.
As Narcan is...
Not 3 times at least.
Narcan is designed to bring you back from your overdose. However, does having Narcan mean, okay, so now if I am going to do heroin... But I just have to do it in public now, in case something goes wrong.
Right, in case something goes wrong. Just like the Good Samaritan laws.
These are the questions, correct.
Remember the Good Samaritan? So the Good Samaritan laws were that it used to be that if you called in, hey, somebody's had an overdose in my living room, and the police got there, then everybody was subject to investigation, blah, 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 blah. Under the Good Samaritan laws, if you called, you were exempt from being prosecuted, investigated, or whatever. You got like a free pass because you're the Good Samaritan who called in the drug overdose, right? So, and that's what saved the guy who went to Prince's house and found Prince dead, okay? Because he was not a physician. His father is a rehabilitation therapist. He's a doctor. He's an MD. Mm-hmm. He's an addiction specialist. And so they went to Prince's house to get him ready to go into rehab. And this kid had all this prescription drugs with him in his backpack. He gets there. They go in, they find Prince dead in the elevator or dying in the elevator. The kid makes the call. Hey, this is what we got going. He gets him down there, gets medical professionals down there. They find all this stuff in his backpack, and they hook him up. They get ready to take him and book him for possession of all this shit he shouldn't have.
Right.
I'm the one who called the police. I get a free pass, Good Samaritan law. So he walked on that.
Wow.
Yeah. That's probably why he was made sure, hold on, let me get to the phone. No, let me call. You move. Let me get to the phone. But he walked on that because of Good Samaritan laws. So, there's these changes that are designed to save lives, and I'm sure they do. But on the other hand, you wonder if it encourages more use or just more open use. People are going to use it. There's more open use, right?
That was the bulk of the discussion today was, the reasons that we're seeing it more and more.
Right.
And she was talking about being at a softball game. People were at a girls' softball game, and it was the first game of their season, and 2 parents sitting in the stand both OD'd simultaneously.
What?
Yeah, and so, they're getting the kids out of the way, calling the ambulance, and of course
they were sitting there shooting up during the game, or what?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So the point of the discussion was that it's even more present than we've acknowledged in the past.
Sure, and now we're starting to see maybe the true face of it, right?
Correct. And so for the sheriff's department out here in Los Angeles to say we're putting Narcan in all our patrol units, that's a pretty big deal.
That is.
And there's talk now, in the discussion today, there was talk with the author about governments wanting and corporations wanting to add Narcan to what they carry at the work site.
Like an AED?
Just like an AED. Put it all on the wall because it's that prevalent.
God, that's awful, man. But that is an epidemic. It truly is an epidemic. And it's claimed several high-profile people.
Yeah.
You know, and that's usually when you get attention. When the wrong person dies of some shit, then we say, okay, what is this? Most of Americans didn't know what freebasing was, so Richard Pryor burned himself up. Right. And then we said, what was he doing? Freebasing.
Oh, Mexican said, that what happened?
Right, exactly. And so then that, you know, it takes something tragedy, high-profile tragedy, to draw attention to it. So that's kind of what's going on there.
And it's also made me think, you know, I wonder if that's something I should be adding to my bags. You know, to my med kits and stuff like that.
Right, but here's the problem, though. How do you get it? I'm sure it's prescription.
Well, that's the thing. That's what I don't know. But I'm going to do some research and
probably a prescription caper.
We'll see. I want to find out. You know, because there is a doctor somewhere doing classes for parents.
In case you find your kids swirling.
Well, your kids, or you happen to be in Walmart or some other, you know, the baseball game,
whatever, the girls softball game, first game of the season.
You know, because you make that call to 911. They're 4 to 8 minutes away.
Right. And then what?
You know, we all just watch and hope, you know.
Well, see, what they got to do then is, well, I was going to say maybe, because if you don't make it available by prescription, and as they said, it's very expensive, you know, if it's over the counter, the price would keep down addicts having it, though, I guess, right? Because the guy goes, this is $300 for this little spray thing. You know how much heroin I could buy for $300? Yeah. He's not going to buy that. He's just going to go for that, right? So, again, the AED, anybody can buy an AED online. They'll ship it to your house. But that Narcan's got to be a prescription caper.
I have a feeling it's going to end up being like an EpiPen, you know, something that you can buy.
Yeah, there you go. I think you got to have a prescription for an EpiPen, though. You do. You got to have a prescription for an EpiPen. You do. Yeah, so, you know, we'll see, man. Maybe if you can justify it based on what you do,
right,
then maybe you can get away with getting a prescription, right?
I think if you had a corporation and you have a doctor providing the training and then the secure the stuff until it's needed.
Right.
I think you can do that.
Yeah, probably, as long as you secure it, right, till it's needed, yeah. Interesting, man. Well, they got to do something, but I don't think the 3 strikes rule is the way to go. Because, again...
That's hard.
He's just saying, don't do it here. Don't go to Middletown. Yeah. Go to Upper Town or Lower Town and go do it there. Because here you got 3 strikes, and after that, you're through gambling.
Man.
3 strikes, you're out, literally.
Don Picard, man. He hard.
Man, he's hard as coffin nails for that one,
Eddie Goodman should give him a call.
Soften him up a little bit, Eddie. Call that man up. Find out what's on his mind.
Come on, Eddie.
So, listen, out of format a little bit, we're going to take a break, and we're going to come back, and we got 3 news stories to talk about, and then we're going to wrap it up. But hey, if you want to call back after the break, it's 323-293-3375. See you in a minute. And that was Pray to the Junkie Maker by Fishbone off the Reality of My Surroundings album. So, so check this out. You posted something earlier that caught my attention, and it seemed to caught Eddie Goodman's attention too. But I guess the governor has ordered the DMV to stop suspending driver licenses for unpaid fines.
Correct.
Unpaid. But not all fines, just certain tickets, I guess, certain kind of...
but it looks like unpaid traffic fines.
Well, yeah. I mean, traffic fines, but I don't think it's everything. I think it's like equipment violations and stuff like that, right? It's not for movers, is it? Not for moving violations?
The way I understand it is it's for any traffic violation, they won't 14601 your license.
Right, so 14601 is suspend or revoke your license. And... you know, after a while, after you don't pay those tickets, they're just going to take your license. And that's one way to get you to pay the tickets. But some people say, well, if you suspend my license, then I'll never be able to pay the tickets because I can't get to work. But then the thing is, you weren't paying the tickets in the first place, even though you were going to work.
Right.
And if you don't want your license suspended, then you're going to go pay those tickets. And I know that threat has kept me on the straight and narrow to go take care of tickets because you can't have your license suspended. You know, you don't want to have that on your thing. So we have a short news clip on that, and then we're going to they present both sides of it, and then we get back and we put our spin on it. So here we go. California to stop suspending driver license for unpaid fines.
Boom.
Oh, okay. Well then.
What happened?
I said it won't play. Producer says it won't play.
Oh, man.
Okay, so we can talk about it, though. So basically, again, up till now, after you accumulated so many unpaid tickets, it goes to warrant. Moving violations, parking tickets, and somebody in the video clip was talking about parking citations anyway. Parking citations don't go to warrant in the state of California. We got it? Oh, wow. Well, here it is. No more extemporaneous speaking from you.
In the ABC7 Eyewitness Newsroom, Californians will no longer lose their driver's licenses because of unpaid traffic fines. Governor Jerry Brown says the punishment does not help the state collect fines and can actually send low-income people into a cycle of job loss and more poverty. The governor approved the provision as part of a series of bills he signed on Tuesday to enact the state budget. Starting next month, it will prevent courts from suspending someone's driver's license simply because of unpaid fines. But the new law will not apply retroactively to people whose licenses are already suspended.
All right.
Wow.
So
that was a scary picture at the end.
Yeah, that was the guy. He Facebook Live the gunfight with LAPD.
Did he really? The one this morning?
Yeah, over by the airport.
Guess he was the 187 suspect.
Yeah, he was.
Task force working him.
Yeah, and they found it. They followed his ass down and got him.
Yep.
It's the second time a SWAT officer's been shot, like in the last 2 weeks.
It was a gunfight.
Yeah.
That's the thing about gunfights. Running gunfights, man, they're unpredictable.
Yeah, you don't know what's going to happen or where it's going to go, what your backdrop is going to be.
Shooting and running. You got to, there's a lot of things happening.
So with this this deal with the ticket, for a lot of people in low-income areas, and that's why, honestly, as an enforcement tool, as a compliance tool, I always felt that parking tickets were better, because parking tickets, especially, and as a revenue-generating tool, parking tickets get paid one way or another.
Throw the boot.
They're going to get paid.
You got to throw the boot.
That's right.
Put the boot on them. They're going to pay them tickets.
Or if you do not pay the ticket and the car's got the boot on it, or your car gets impounded because it's got too many tickets, because that can happen, then you have to come pay to get your car out.
Or if it's unregistered.
Or if it's right. So
if parked in public.
If you do not pay to get your car out, they're going to sell your car at auction. They're going to sell it to the junk man or something. They're going to get that money.
They're going to sell to those vultures that show up on the auctions every
the auction blocks? Yeah, right. And they'll
at OPG Tow.
They'll turn your car into a taxi cab. Parking tickets get paid one way or another. You're going to pay that fine. Either you're going to lose your vehicle,
right,
or you're going to just go down there and pay it. Okay. Traffic tickets don't have that same high clearance rate. For a lot of people, they have no intention of paying a traffic ticket. In fact, I used to joke. I got this from an LAPD officer. Our joke was that when you wrote somebody a ticket, you were just filling out a warrant application,
right?
Because that's all it was. They ain't going to take care of that. It's going to go to warrant. And the guy's going to, hopefully he can duck and dodge. He's got a couple of them stacked up. And then he can go do 1 weekend in the county jail, get them all done. And if the guy's got $800 worth of moving violations, and he goes to county jail on a Friday night, gets out on a Monday morning, they're all clear. He wasn't going to make $800 over the weekend anyway, so he came up.
Right.
So not only did he not pay the ticket, you had to feed and house him and pay deputies to watch him. Right? So that's why a lot of people say these moving violations, you get the dry bologna sandwiches or the burritos. That's why a lot of people say that traffic citations in certain communities, certain areas, even to people of a certain mindset, no matter where they live, are just going to cost money in the long run. And, and this is why they don't want to suspend the license.
That's all they're designed to. They're revenue generators for.
But like I said, they're not going to generate revenue for certain people because they're not going to pay it. And then they're going to go to jail, and they're going to cost the city money when you thought you were going to make the city money by writing a ticket.
Well,
parking tickets are revenue generators.
All I got to say is, if poor people get a break, I want a break too.
No. Are you kidding me? You kidding me? Isn't how that works?
If they don't have to, if they can be,
they get a free school lunch too. You don't get no free school lunch.
I want free lunch.
No such thing, sir.
That's what I want.
I got 2 kids in college right now. I'm not getting no break.
All right. So who you telling?
Okay, not none. So I'm getting a California resident break because they go to school in the state. That's all I'm getting.
I didn't get not one thing from the government.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Nothing. So, Nathan.
But they figure you don't need it. You don't need it, and your less fortunate brothers and sisters can use that break, and then they can go out and get that job and continue to work and drive.
They get a break. They get a break. I get a break.
Well, they ain't.
I don't get a break. They don't get a break.
Well, no. You know what? This applies to you though. This is not income based. This applies to anyone. They're just saying it was disparately or disproportionately impacting the poor.
And decide not to pay it.
Doesn't say you got to do a jail time for it now. It just says they won't suspend your license for not paying it. So you get the same break. You get this, it's not income based.
All right.
They're just saying it had a disparate impact on the low income because they were more likely to blow a ticket off and not. I ain't gonna say blow it off. Not pay it for whatever reason.
You can say blow it off.
Whether they were blowing it off or unable to pay it or whatever, that they were not doing it. So that's why the governor's like, hey, this is just a vicious cycle. This is not going to help them at all. It's going to impact their ability to pay it back. So, whatever. Let's see how it works. But you do get that break, though, if you choose not to pay your tickets.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, hey, if I get a ticket and I ain't paying it.
Well, they ain't saying you got to go to jail now. They're just saying they won't take your license.
I want amnesty. Look,
amnesty. Well, they said it's not retroactive too. That was interesting too. It's not retroactive. If your stuff's already been suspended, shame on you.
Yeah, see, because Eddie thought, he good now. That's what he thought.
14-601. He can drive around Burbank again.
He dirty. He rolling dirty.
Riding dirty.
You know he is.
He can drive around Burbank again.
He know he is.
Don't worry, and don't worry about getting pulled over.
Romeo PG toe.
OPG. Down with OPG? That's what he used to say, too. Me and George Harris, when the official police, OPG stands for Official Police Garage. So the OPG tow truck would show up, and I'd get on there, and I'd go, show me down with OPG. The dispatchers thought that was funny, too. So hey, because today is June 29th, 2017.
But may I just add one last thing about the
OPG?
Not OPG, but about the Governor Brown's approach to this. This is a pattern now, and
sure.
California voters better wake up and smell the frijoles, for God's sakes, because we're decriminalizing crime because progressives, and we're in a progressive state.
Right, it's a progressive state. Yeah, sure.
And we got progressive political leaders, and Kevin De Leon is a putz. Governor Brown is a dipstick, and so we're turning the state over to criminals, and because so many criminals are people of color, they think that they're doing people of color a service by saying, you know what? It's the system criminalizing you. It's not what you're doing.
Well, right. And where are those criminals of color going to go? They're going to go back to communities of color where they're going to victimize other people of color.
Well, that's all they do anyway. I mean, for all the talk.
But at least they were in jail.
For all the talks about police officer shootings, a young black man, the threat to a young black man's life is greater from another young black man who looks just like him the same age.
Undoubtedly. And there's no arguing that.
That's right.
As sad as that is, there's no arguing that.
So in this state where we want to continue down this path of trying to fix, quote, racism, close quote, with these new kind of laws where there's just no penalty for breaking the law, this is a very slippery slope that we're
it's not that there's no penalty, there's less penalty, but that's part of the slippery slope, isn't it? Lessening the penalty.
You lessen it, and then you just get away, just do away with it.
Because next time,
because this is just 14601 right now.
Right.
As it is for illegal aliens in the city, anyway, if you have an unlicensed driver, you can't just hook the car up.
Right. You used to be able to do that.
They get to call a friend.
Llama un amigo.
Call a friend.
Llame.
Por favor. Llama mi amigo. Gracias.
And then that way they can just come back and get the car later, right?
Yeah, it's just ridiculous.
Well, and they're looking at it as, hey, this is a disparity. Again, but this is something that disproportionately impacts the poor, just like the bail system disproportionately impacts the poor.
That's what's next.
Oh, it is what's next. It's being revised right now. There's people working on it now.
Yep.
Because it does disproportionately impact the poor. If a rich guy and a poor guy do the same crime and the bail is $10,000, that poor guy, the jail might as well be $1 million. That bill might as well be $1 million, man. He ain't going nowhere. That rich dude, he got that in his pocket.
And if what he's doing is our serious felonies, that's fine. We want him locked up.
What about the rich guy?
What about him?
What do you mean, what about him? If he's a dangerous criminal, he's a dangerous criminal. What if he got rich being a criminal? You see what I mean?
You're talking about white-collar crimes?
No, not just white-collar crimes. Let me tell you something. I pulled over a guy.
Those guys aren't running.
I pulled over a guy one time. I won't say his name.
They got too much money to run. Where are they going to?
He was one of the biggest dope dealers in Nickerson Gardens.
They're going to win their case with attorneys.
Me, Steve Judd, and Kenny Alexander stopped this dude on Imperial and Central. And I remember he had a nice Eddie Bauer jacket on. He was driving an Eddie Bauer car, and the jacket matched the interior. Okay? Very nice vehicle. So he had a $1,000 warrant on him. So we take him to jail because back then $1,000 would get your ass gone to jail. Mm-hmm. This is 1989, early 90s. So we take him to jail. There's immediate cash bailout, right? Which means if you got the money on you, you could bail out. Homeboy had like $987 on him. Like, not quite, right?
Does he just say, "Hey man, you got $7?"
Right. You got 13. I get 13. You know I'm good for it. So I go see the watch commander. I go, sir. He's saying he's got almost enough money. Can somebody come, bring the money? Watch commander goes, all right, don't book him yet. Leave him on the bench or whatever. 45 minutes later, watch commander goes, hey, it don't take 45 minutes to get in from Nickerson Gardens. Go ahead and book him. So I'm booking the dude in. As we're booking him in on this $1,000 warrant, he's got $987 in his pocket. The phone rings in the jail. And the jailer answers the phone and goes, we're booking him in right now. No, it's only $1,000. Oh, okay. And he hangs the phone up and he turns to the guy and goes, hey, man, why did you tell those people your bail was $100,000? And he goes, $100,000? What they think I did? But it was only $1,000, but it took them 45 minutes to come up with $100,000 to come bail him out.
Wow.
Okay? I can't come up with $100,000 in 45 minutes. It came up with $100,000 in 45 minutes to come get this dude out of the joint.
Everybody knows you need at least an hour. Everybody knows that.
Shit, I need a little longer than that, believe me. I got to get rid of some stuff first. But yeah. So this is the guy. He's a rich criminal, right? So a rich criminal versus a poor criminal. They're both crooks. He was dirty as he was crooked as a barrel of snakes.
Right.
But he had the money.
Right.
So for that guy, that bail, man, if he hadn't stopped at McDonald's, he would have had the other $13 and he could have bailed out when we popped him.
That's the system, for God's sakes.
Yeah, you're right. You're right, but it disproportionately impacts the poor, and that's why they're looking at trying to change that.
Yeah, but them poor criminals, let me tell you something.
Hey, you just saw this dude with this and I was going to bring this story up tonight, I just forgot about it. The Fox News guy, executive who was missing for 2 years, and they found his body. Turns out he was having an affair with some dope dealer's estranged wife, and the dope dealer found him and beat the dude to death. That dope dealer was an affluent guy, and he had he led like a white collar life apparently, and he screwed up.
So what's the
it ain't just poor criminals? It's rich criminals are violent too. What about the Menendez brothers? Those are some violent ass rich criminals. What about OJ? Never mind, he wasn't convicted for that.
I don't know.
I was going to.
Menendez brothers. There's more mental something happening. That's just. They didn't just say,
weird ass rich.
I'm killing mom and dad. That's it.
No, they wanted that money.
Grab the gauge. One brother looked at you and said, "Give me the bitch."
Hey, I happened to be in court on another case out there in Van Nuys courthouse. So we're right next door. It's me, Mike Duffy, and Mark. Goddamn, Mark, I forget Mark's last name. Anyway, Mark, you know who you are. So he's from LAPD. We go next door because our case is over. So we go next door to the Menendez brothers trial, and we sit in there just to absorb it and check it out, Man, them boys look scared and pale and like they hadn't seen sunlight in 2 years, and they ass was through. We apparently have a caller. Hey, caller, what's your name and where you calling from?
Good evening, gentlemen.
Well.
Uh-oh.
How you doing?
All right, how you been, man?
First Eddie Goodman.
And then Willie Sweet. Wonka Joe.
Man, what's going on?
Man, how you doing? All good?
Yeah, man, I've been studying the 1,400-year history of Islam. I'm trying to figure out, the whole purpose of this war, and I'm getting close to my solution, you know what I mean? I mean, not my solution, but my answer.
The final solution?
Which war?
Oh, the war, man. The reason why, the Muslims, blow themselves up and all that shit.
You talking about the caliphates and all that and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, man. Basically, it's fascinating to me to find out what makes a man want to blow himself up. You know what I'm saying? But I understand a little bit of it. But I see like when people talk about jihadists and these people are crazy and holy war and all that stuff. It's very interesting because actually the first holy war was started by the Catholic Church against Muslims.
You talking about the Crusades?
Exactly, George. You George. Man, you got it, bro.
Well, Gil knew that. That's just.
Oh, that was Gil.
Everybody know. I'm saying we both knew that. Everybody knows the Crusades.
Oh.
Everybody knows that.
No, yeah. I heard of the Crusades. I ain't never looked into it. You know what I mean?
No, okay. The Crusades, not the Jazz Crusaders.
The Crusaders, right?
Yeah. So I guess that's how these Muslims today look at it. Like it's like.
Well, it's a holy war, right? If one party believes it's a holy war, it's a holy war.
Yeah, you can't.
There's no doubt about that. But let me ask you this, because we're going to actually, if we have time, we're going to get into this. What do you think about this travel ban? That actually,
hello?
Can you hear us? Okay, I guess we lose him.
We done lost him.
I guess we lost him.
Technology.
You got to pay your bill, man.
You better get
go down to Cricket and pay your Cricket bill.
Guess it got that Boost Mobile ain't working.
No shit.
Chirp us when you got some minutes on there.
So chirp, wow. So this leads us into the next topic, which is today's June 29th, 2017. And President Trump's travel ban is going to take effect. And actually, it took effect when we first started the show at 8 o'clock tonight.
8 o'clock, that's correct.
It took effect. So
actually, it was 5 o'clock here, 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock their time. So before we came in tonight, it was already in. So tonight's the first night. There's already protests at LAX. And we have a video to show them. We'll talk about that quickly.
Administration is getting ready to put its temporary travel ban in place. It will stop most visits from 6 mainly Muslim countries for 90 days. The Supreme Court yesterday threw out lower court orders blocking the ban. The president called it a, quote, great day for America's future security and safety. Jan Crawford is outside the Supreme Court. Jan, good morning.
Well, good morning. So, President Trump has been slapped down at every turn by the appeals courts, but the justices get the last word. And yesterday, they all agreed to allow at least part of his travel ban. So in the next few days, the government will stop denying visas to certain travelers from those 6 countries considered safe havens for terrorism.
We will destroy radical Islamic terrorism.
President Trump reaffirmed his commitment to national security during a visit Monday by the Indian Prime Minister, but except for that tweet, steered clear, reacting to his administration's victory.
Thank you very much, everybody.
The unsigned opinion announced by Chief Justice John Roberts said preserving national security is an urgent objective of the highest order. Love, not hate. It's a unanimous rebuke to 2 federal appeals courts that halted the ban nationwide after those courts found it violated federal law and amounted to unconstitutional religious discrimination against Muslims. Reaction from immigrants' rights groups was swift.
This Muslim and refugee ban is unjust, it is un-American, and we will continue to fight it in the courts and in the streets.
This is kind of a slap to the face of Muslims around the country and even around the world.
But the court stopped short of allowing the president's full ban to take effect, saying it would not apply to immigrants who have a bona fide relationship with a person or entity in the United States, such as a close family member or a position at an American company or university.
I think it's premature to call this, a victory or a non-victory.
Hawaii Attorney General Doug Chin, who fought against the ban, called that provision a partial win, but said his state could still be negatively affected.
Anybody outside of the United States who's watching everything that's happened, there's no question, that what has happened has created a chilling effect.
Now, the justices scheduled arguments for October, but the administration had originally said it needed this travel ban while it reviewed immigration vetting procedures. So by then, this whole case could be moot. Gail?
All right, Jan, thanks.
All right, so we're going to see some protests like we'd seen back in January when this first happened. And that was actually, man, it shut LAX pretty much down with all the protests in the backlog. So I guess we have a caller. Is our same caller back on the air? Did he rebound back?
Yeah, I'm trying to make it. What's going on?
Did you run down to the Cricket store and pay your bill real quick?
Yeah, that's not funny. Hey, George.
So did you watch that? Did you listen to the video just now about the travel ban? Because a lot of people feel that's aimed at Muslims.
Man, it's hard, George, because it's like capitalism is a beast that has unlimited appetite to devour and eat up everything. So the travel ban, man, the foreign policies of the United States, the way the Anglo-Saxons look at the Arabs look at the Anglo-Saxons, the Africans look at the Chinese. Everybody's so different. It's all crazy to me, George. It's 1,000 answers, and I can't explain it right now.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
All right. Well, you could have just said that. You took
I'm
us around
sorry,
the world, though. You did the small world tour. That's cool,
But the
though.
thing about it is, what Senator McCain was talking about with the travel ban and why it would, ignite more Islamic fundamentalist shit is true. Because, you have so many different sets of Islam, and then you have Muslims who feel like, they don't want to kill and they don't believe in war and all that.
Right.
But then you got these other type of Muslims. But the thing about it is, one thing about the 2.5 billion Muslims in the world, it's a large group of them that will unite and will not stop fighting. And they have this strategic plan, for the most part anyway, that compares to what the Vietnamese did, which is basically just to exhaust America.
So it sounds like you're in support of the travel ban then, because that's what that's designed to stop, or to keep that away from here.
The travel ban, George, that's my point, man. The Anglo-Saxons of America and England and France, these people don't get it. They're so arrogant with their technology and their weapons. They don't understand that these Muslims, they're never going to stop fighting you. I mean, fuck.
Well, you know what? Okay, but you know, you talk about a war of attrition, and you're right. There's 2.5 billion people out there, but first of them, all of them ain't gonna bust a grape. Okay, all of them ain't killers.
I already said that, George.
So we know
but
that.
My point is, for those who will bust a grape, they're gonna die. Then the kids will grow up. They'll bust grapes. It's just going to go on and on and on. And how much money is America and Britain willing to spend over the next 200 years?
Right. We're spending money, outlay of capital in terms of life and other resources, etc. But, you know...
and your empire is crumbling from within.
Well, and that's how you would do that, through erosion. But damn, you'd hope eventually somebody would say, well, you know, we've sustained casualties like crazy. Because if you look at the casualties of our side versus their side, for lack of a better term, we're winning. Okay, it's just about the will to fight. If your will comes from your religion, then you're not. That's an inexhaustible supply.
But our will to fight, or the people who got us fighting, is based on capitalism.
The people who got us fighting, I like that.
Their will to fight is based on Allah.
Right, that's what I'm saying. That's an
artificial God versus a real God.
That's an inexhaustible supply of motivation if you think God has sanctioned you to go out and put in work like that. But, you know, here's my take on the travel ban, since you asked.
No, I didn't.
I know you didn't. My thing is, I don't really, you know, America first, you know, rah-rahs, this boom, bah, all that. If you're going to exclude people, then fine, okay? If that's what you feel like you want to do. I don't want to see it done on the basis of religion, and I think this was written to just make it appear like it's not, although it kind of still is. I don't want you to base it on people's race or whatever. But here's if you start saying we're no longer allowing refugees in, even if it's from one country, let alone 6, I want somebody to go out to New York, get on a boat, go out to that harbor, go to the base of the Statue of Liberty, and take that sign down that says, "Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses." Because we ain't that no more. We're not doing that right now.
We ain't got no room for them. We got them all.
Okay, then let's take a sign down or cover it up.
Take it down.
George, I said this a long time ago on the show, and it probably flew over everybody's head. I said that whatever America was designed to be when the Europeans designed it, man, you're far gone from that nowadays. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I don't think anybody could have foreseen where we are now 240 years plus later, right?
300 and some odd million, 340 million people.
Right. They didn't foresee that, clearly.
And like how we have people like Gil with their, you know what I'm saying, their way of speaking out there, that the poor people are the problem, the poor people are the scumbags of our society, and if elite rich people drive drinking and kill somebody, you know, give them a year probation or whatever, pay a fine, you know what I'm saying?
And don't let him be a drunk Mexican, though. He got to go do some time, right?
Yeah. And speaking of that legal system, George, I wanted to ask you a question, though.
Uh-huh.
You know, I recently got a ticket a couple months ago.
You better pay it. Well, you don't live in California, so you better pay it.
Well, y'all say California's a progressive state. I don't understand how California can be a progressive state when y'all got the death penalty. I don't believe in that. But anyway.
We don't use it, so what difference does it make?
Yeah, we ain't kill nobody.
We ain't gonna bust no grapes either.
I was driving in somebody else's car, right, George?
With their permission?
Yeah, of course.
All right, I'm just checking. This is a Ride Along Radio show. We got to ask.
I'm a grown man now, George. Anyway.
Come on now.
He don't do that kind of stuff no more, right?
No more.
This is city police now. This isn't like, county, state trooper, none of that, right?
Right.
But anyway, this small little municipal little shitty cop pulls me over, right?
Wow. Why's got to be on that? Why's got to be on that?
Because, you know, these little small municipality police officers, they ain't got shit to do. They ain't doing no real police work. Anyway,
wow.
So this guy pulls me over, and he says there's no insurance on the car. And I'm like, okay, I didn't know that. Whatever, blah, blah, blah. So,
but you had insurance, right?
I got insurance on my cars.
Oh, but it's not doesn't insure you to drive other cars. I got you. Okay.
Yeah. See, the guy, I dropped off my car with a mechanic guy who's a dealer. What happened was I dropped off my car with a dealer, mechanic guy. Right there on the spot. He said, look, man, let me work on your car. I'll fix it up. Cool. I dropped it off. I took one of his cars, drove it around. A couple weeks later, I get pulled over for no insurance.
Okay, I got you. Like a loaner vehicle.
Like a loaner vehicle.
You don't get pulled over for no insurance. You get pulled over for some other violation.
Yeah. What? You might have got the ticket. You got the ticket for no insurance, but you got pulled over for something else.
What you? Oh, y'all talking about something else. Anyway, so I go to the prosecutor. I say, okay, look, I put insurance on the car. Leave me alone. She's talking about.
Leave me alone.
I need to see proof that you had insurance on the car
at the
that
time.
night.
Oh,
I said,
not a fix it.
It's not even my car. You know what I mean?
Right.
I got insurance on it now. Let me go. Leave me the hell alone. I'm not paying $800. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
George,
so you can come do this time.
You finna pay.
You can come do this time.
Listen.
You got more time. You got more money. You got to make a decision.
Listen, I come back to court the other day, matter of fact. She still won't let it go. So I asked for a continuance.
Right.
Give me another court date.
You're trying to wear her down.
Man, look.
But you don't understand is every time you do that continuance, she's getting paid to be there, and you ain't getting paid to be there. So she's going to wear you down. She's on the clock.
George, I show up late to the courthouse any damn way. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
You think I'm about to sit there for 4 hours waiting for my name? You crazy? I show up late.
So what happened? So when you so you got a warrant now or what?
I got no warrant. What else to do?
Did we lose him again? All right. Well, sorry. I guess we lost you again, and we're actually out of time for the show.
I just want to say very quickly that it's really, it's disingenuous for the media to continue to call this a, quote, travel ban, close quote, on Muslims. This is a ban on travel from 6 countries that are known state sponsors of terrorism.
But only the Muslims from that country are banned.
That's who the terrorists are. So until we can figure out a way to vet people coming from a country like Syria where there is no government, there's no vetting to do because you can't get records because there's no government.
Everything's been destroyed or burned up or whatever.
And so we have to say, until we can figure out how we do that, and I don't even know how we're going to do that.
Right. But so Syria.
So until then, you have to at least stop it until we can figure out how do we do the, quote, vetting, close quote.
What about the other 5
of
countries?
These refugees that want to come in? The people that it allows in, I have no problem with that. The family members, and they even defined what a family member was. And
right, it's not a grandparents, apparently.
That's right.
It stops at
aunts or uncles.
Right, it's got to be a sibling or parents, right, or children.
No, or step parents, but no aunts, no uncles, no cousins, no fiancés.
No baby mama.
There's a bunch of people that are excluded from this. So I don't know what the big protest is.
You know what? But here's my issue with it.
Let me just finish my point.
Okay.
And so I knew that, as this was bouncing around the different, the Ninth Circus and the Fourth Circus, where all these activist judges are, they're all progressives, and so they're everybody, on that side of the left side of the political spectrum is just they still can't, even after all these months, they can't accept that Trump is the president and Hillary isn't, and there isn't this continuation of the Obama legacy or whatever. And so I knew, and I said this earlier in earlier shows when this travel ban thing first came up, I said, I don't expect anything from the Ninth Circuit, don't expect anything from the Fourth Circuit, because those are activist judges. They have this progressive
and none of them were appointed by Donald Trump. But
that's not the point. The point is, when you just look at the legality of what it says, I knew the Supreme Court would only look at the law and say you can't take into account whatever he may or may not have said as a candidate. You can't take that into it. You have to look at the document itself and the words in that document, and
it's not strictly legal, though.
Yes,
you know
yes,
that.
no, it is.
It's not strictly legal.
That's why it passed. That's why most of it passed. And
no, most of it didn't pass. Actually,
most of it did pass. There are only small portions of it that didn't. But these guys like that, the guy from, was that Hawaii?
Yeah, Doug Kim.
Yeah. You know, no one on that side of the political spectrum they will never utter one favorable word to the president or his administration or anything that he says or does.
Right. That's just
frankly,
how that goes.
I don't care, and the president doesn't care. The people who voted for him, we care what he's doing and what he's saying. Well, however, this judge or
but we can't act like the Supreme Court doesn't have any political anything to it, because if it didn't, then we wouldn't be fighting over who's going to get their nomination in before the election is up or whatever. We would just say put somebody in there and let them interpret it. Obviously, these judges lean one way or the other.
Well, half of them, they lean.
We know that.
Well, they're half and half right now.
Well, right now, right. But I'm saying, so it's not like there's no political winds blowing through the Supreme Court, because there always have been.
Well, but not to the degree that they're not activists up there at the Supreme Court. And they try to make their decisions based on what the law, an interpretation of the law.
Thank you, an interpretation of the law, right?
Correct. And so,
and they also know they got the final word, unlike the other courts, the lower courts know that they don't have the final word on it anyway.
So I mean, those of us who are watching this stuff, and I said this on our previous shows when we talked about the travel ban, that it doesn't really matter what the Ninth Circuit says, it doesn't matter what the Fourth Circuit says, it doesn't matter what these governors of these progressive, it doesn't matter, because they would never vote for it anyway. But when it gets to the Supreme Court, that's where the rubber's going to meet the road. That's where the legal scholars are going to look at this and they're going to say, yes, you can do it, or no, you can't. And they said, yes, you can to some degree, and here are those provisions for you doing it. So I don't know what these people are protesting at LAX. You guys.
Because things change.
You guys are going to be,
yeah, they're going to be out there making some good OT.
I was going to say they're on overtime making that long money. And one last thing I want to say about the LAXPD before we go away.
Okay.
I saw a video on Facebook posted by Marshall McLean.
Yes. Him on the range.
He was on the range with a rifle.
Yeah, he was nice with it. Right?
Let me just say this, Marshall, you a bad motherfucker. You a bad motherfucker.
Yeah, I helped train him on that rifle.
Scared of you, bro.
Yep, you badass, Marshall.
Scared of you.
You came by it honest.
That's right. He looked good.
He did. Yeah, he was nice and smooth with it too. Nice transition with that pistol too.
Looked good.
Hey, so listen, you can like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram at a Ride Along Radio Show, and follow us on Twitter at Ride Along Radio. And you can tweet us that way too. And you can do like a couple people have done this last week, and you can send us an email, a ridealongradioshow@gmail.com. If you have something you'd like to say, if you have something topic you'd like to suggest, et cetera, et cetera.
Or if you want to pick on George.
Pick on Gil. I'll make sure he gets it. So until next week, I'm George Holt.
I'm Gil Contreras.
And this has been Ride Along Radio.